Can you imagine having to carry bags full of money to buy a loaf of bread? It sounds like science fiction, but it's happened not just once, but several times in history. Today we're going to talk about the craziest inflations that have ever existed, how they got to that point, and what we can learn so that it doesn't happen to us. Subscribe and hit the bell for more economic stories that sound like they're straight out of a movie. What is inflation, and what does hyperinflation mean? A simple definition of inflation: the widespread and sustained increase in the prices of goods and services. An everyday example: if a cup of coffee costs €2 today and 2.20 euros next year, that's inflation. Hyperinflation: when prices rise by more than 50% in a single month, economist Philip Kagan's criterion. Metaphorically, it's like a forest fire. It starts small, but if left unchecked, it spreads rapidly and destroys everything. The most famous case, Germany in 1923. After World War I, Germany was in debt, and the government printed money uncontrollably to pay reparations. The result? By 1923, prices were doubling every 4 days. Visual example: a loaf of bread in January cost 250 marks. In November of the same year, it cost 200 billion marks. True stories. Workers demanded to be paid twice a day to spend the money before it lost value. Children played with bundles of bills as if they were building blocks. Conclusion: currency had completely lost its function. Zimbabwe, 2007-2009. Zimbabwe printed huge amounts of money to cover deficits and pay for government expenses. In 2008, inflation reached 79,600% per month. Example: an egg could cost 50 million Zimbabwean dollars in the morning and 150 million in the afternoon. The central bank issued the largest banknote in history, 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars. The consequence: people stopped using their own currency and started using US dollars or South African rands. Hungary, 1946, the world record. After World War II, Hungary suffered the worst hyperinflation on record. Prices doubled every 15 hours. The highest note was 100 quadrillion pengos. For example, a loaf of bread cost 6,000 pengos in 1945, and in 1946, 1.5 quadrillion. The final solution: they abandoned the currency and created the much more stable forint. Other surprising cases: Greece, 1944. Prices doubled every 4 days during the German occupation. Yugoslavia, 1994. Inflation of 313 million% per month. People received their paychecks in the morning and rushed to the supermarket before prices rose at midday. Venezuela, 2016-2019. Prices rose thousands of percent annually. The phrase "devalued Bolivar" was coined. Today, most people use dollars. Why is this happening? Common causes: printing unbacked money to pay debts or government spending, loss of confidence in the government and the currency, political crises or wars that destroy the economy. Simple explanation: it's like inflating a balloon. At first, it expands without any problem, but if you keep blowing too hard, it bursts. Lessons for today: inflation affects everyone. Even if there is no hyperinflation, high inflation reduces purchasing power. Current example, 2025. In Europe and the United States, 5% inflation means that in 10 years, you lose almost half the value of your money if you don't invest it. Practical advice for the audience: diversify income and savings. Don't keep all your money in cash. Invest in assets that grow with inflation: stocks, real estate, etc. Motivational quote: history shows us that uncontrolled inflation destroys economies, but also that people always find solutions. What millions of people in Germany, Hungary, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela experienced reminds us that money can lose its value in a matter of days, but knowledge never does. If you learn how inflation works, you'll be one step ahead. Don't let history repeat itself. Like, subscribe and hit the bell, and tell me in the comments, what would you do if a loaf of bread cost €1 million tomorrow?